that I am Michael Sunleitner. I am the primary instructor for this course on Gandhi and King, Soul Force, and Social Change. This is an online offering, which today is session number 15 out of 30. And this is the session that we focus on Mahatma Gandhi. Beginning next week, we will be focusing for 1 month on Martin Luther King Jr. In terms of today's session, there are a couple of things I want to mention at the beginning, and then I will ask, is there anything that you, the participants in the session, would like to talk about? Then my intention is, after about 10 minutes, maybe more, that we will focus on Gandhi's legacy in India. And we can go beyond India also. That will be me providing an organized outline of that legacy for about 40 minutes. Though always I remind the participants that I am happy to stop. If you have a question, it is often best to ask it before you forget it. And so I don't mind being interrupted. It is part of the learning process. Yes? And then the last part of our time will be discussion. We will see how many people are in the session today. So far, it's not so many. If many show up, then we may have some breakout rooms because our wonderful tech support in Germany is able to perform such miracles for us. So, let me begin with an apology. For those of you that are listening, there are two apologies. One, I was so focused on wanting to cover information yesterday that I forgot that for many it is the first day of Ramadan. And that is shameful for someone who is teaching about Gandhi to forget such an important day in the lives of his Muslim friends. Ramadan in some parts of the world begins today, in which case I'm not late. But still, I forgot yesterday. And I want you to accept my apology. Second, the reason I forgot deserves an apology also. It is a typical teaching error to try to cover too much information in too little time. Of course, we all want to make maximum use of time, but I sought to cover too many people who were influenced by Gandhi, too many books that were written about Gandhi, too much information. And when that happens, too often, people who are listening either get very, very bored or they don't want to ask questions because they don't have enough information about a topic to ask questions about it. And so please forgive me for making that teaching error. Sometimes I can compensate if I have a handout that you can visually watch and follow. But yesterday I had no such handout. And again, that is my mistake. I hope to not make the same mistake again. You think I'm being too critical of myself? Well, you have the right to disagree with me.
Yeah, we are disagreeing with you. You are so clear about the concept, about the, because you know Gandhiji very well. and everything, and we are old enough to capture your lectures. Sometimes we don't ask questions because nothing to ask, because you clearly mentioned us in a one by one, not skipping any message, just one by one. So it is very clear to us. We are developed in this way. We are getting
Well,
developed on a daily basis.
we can disagree, Lubna. You and I, we can disagree. But from my point of view, as a teacher, when there is not interaction and participation, I feel like there has been a failure.
No.
So I
Yeah.
think that I really encourage you to raise questions, to openly disagree with myself and others, and to have respectful interaction. Pascal, you have a comment.
Yes, I do agree with you because yesterday it was difficult for me to follow what you was saying because I have a problem with the English spelling and I couldn't understand the name of the people, and all the
Mhm.
time I was looking where is it in and while listening it was difficult for me to get the name, and I have a request, please. Is it possible to have a list of the name of the person you mentioned today, yesterday? Then I would have it in my notes because I
Yeah.
think I didn't get every name. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pascal. And I believe that is a very good criticism. And
But
uh, I have not made a full amends, but uh, I do have a first slide today that may be able to be put up, which includes the names of the people that I covered yesterday. Can we do that?
yes, great. And yes, very good. Thank you. And I want to add something. Normally, it is very, very useful. Every time it was very useful to have the piece of paper with the information. It was really useful. All the time I had on my computer the list, and I could really understand what you were saying because it was very sometimes complicated for us to follow the Sanskrit words, and all the time it was very good. Thank you very much.
Michael, you are mute.
Do we seeing it yet? I'm not seeing it yet.
Yeah. Now you are audible.
Not yet, but it's okay. When we do see it, you will see my notes. They are not typed because I had no time to type them. But you will see something like this. You can't see it very well, but you can see there is Albert Einstein. We didn't discuss. There's Dorothy Day. We did discuss. Cesar Chavez, not much. Kwame Nkrumah, properly spelled. Even though it is my handwriting, we can also put this in the WhatsApp group. You should be able to at least use Google to look more information about these people. I included Lanzo Dovasto, who was mentioned by Sibi Joseph yesterday. I have a brief outline of the global green movement and the 4 pillars of the green movement, which I mentioned. So this will either be on a slide today that you can screenshot, or I will put it in the WhatsApp group. This is at least a partial correction of my mistake from yesterday. I hope that that will be better than nothing. Okay. As you can see, I'm in a very, very empty room today. This used to be my bedroom, but we are moving out of this house, and so there is not even a table. I have a little chair, and I have my notes from today. Now, my notes from today I also sent, which could be made as a slide now, if we have that ability. Gandhi's legacy in India and beyond. Excellent. Well, they might not be excellent and easy to read because they were made for me. But at least you will be able to take a screenshot and maybe make it more dark for you. That's much better. And you can see that my strategy for the next 30 to 40 minutes is one, to give you some idea of institutions in India today that are active. I have visited all of these places. And so if there's an interest in one, I can give you more depth. I would also like you to be aware of three major events in the past 75 years of my life, which happens to be the 75 years since the death of Gandhi. I didn't kill him. I did not kill him. I was born after his death. Maybe part of his soul came back into me, but I'm not responsible for his death. Those three events include the Bhudon and Gramdan movement of Vinoba Bhave and the split in the Gandhian movement as a result of the state of emergency called by Prime Minister Indira Gandhi in 1966, in 1975-77. And then last, I would like to give some idea as to what has been happening more recently under the BJP and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So some idea of the legacy of Gandhi in institutions active in India today, and then three events, you might say, three milestones in the past 75 years that deserve mention. Now, rather than read all 10 of these organizations, the Institute of Gandhian Studies is in Wardha, based at Gandhi's last ashram in Sevagram. I don't know if Sibi Joseph is with us today. I am not seeing him. Sibi Joseph is the director of that institute. And so I think I will let him discuss his work if he is able to join us a little later in our session. The National Gandhi Museum is in Delhi. It is a wonderful place. 2 years ago, I spent 4 days there visiting with the director of the museum as well as the chief librarian. It's a great resource, and I might add, a very inexpensive place to stay. If you get the contact information for the Gandhi Museum, and I can give it to you if you request it, you can have very, very simple lodging in New Delhi for less than $4 per day. That is the same price that they were charging 50 years ago when I first visited the place. So it's a very inexpensive place, very nearby the Rajghat, which is the location of where Gandhi was cremated, and is now a very beautiful park, a place of pilgrimage for many people. Perhaps on the WhatsApp group, I can post a video of my last trip to the Rajghat, and you can see what a peaceful place it is. I believe in our group, at least in past sessions, there have been people from Gandhigram Rural University in Dindigul. That's in Tamil Nadu, in the extreme south of India. Gandhigram Rural University is a manifestation of Gandhi's Ney Talim, new education policy philosophy. I was last there 15 years ago, where I gave a series of lectures and met people. If anyone is from Gandhigram, they can tell you about their current activities, if you like. Anybody from Gandhigram in our session today? Okay. There's a place called the Gandhi Research Institute, which I visited for the first time 2 years ago. The Gandhi Research Institute is also known as Gandhi Peeth, and it's in Maharashtra state in the central part of India. The Gandhi Research Institute is kind of hard to describe. It's like an oasis of Gandhian activity and research that is high technology. It's a really very modern program in place. It's over 300 acres, a very large area. They have their own museum. They have their own library. They have regular institutes, particularly promoting rural development and Gandhian values. So I encourage you to look up Gandhi Research Institute if you like. They do have in-person workshops every year at relatively low cost. So Lubna may be able to travel from Bangladesh to Maharashtra and engage in a very good in-person learning opportunity at Gandhi Research Institute. Mahatma Gandhi University is in Kottayam, a city in Kerala, which is the extreme south of India on the west coast. MGU, Mahatma Gandhi University, has the largest faculty of any Gandhi studies program in India. It was at MGU that MS John, who spoke with us 2 days ago, MS John was a professor. 15 years ago, I was a Fulbright scholar myself, teaching at Mahatma Gandhi University. So that's a great place to go study, as also is Mahatma Gandhi Mission University in Aurangabad in Maharashtra state. Mahatma Gandhi Mission University is also very high tech, very modern, and has, in addition to Gandhi studies, many programs, including modern filmmaking. And they have all of the facilities and technology for making films, movies. Though I don't think they specialize in Bollywood. I didn't see any singing or dancing while I was there. It's more serious filmmaking. Gujarat Vidyapit in Ahmedabad, Gujarat, is on my list. Gujarat Vidyapit was founded by Gandhi himself in 1920. It is the only university founded by Gandhi himself and has had a long, long tradition of Gandhi studies. They, in Gandhi fashion, have most of their courses taught in the native language of Gujarat, that is Gujarati. I was teaching there in English because I don't speak Gujarati. And they wanted me to be able to share. We can return to discussing Gujarat Vidyapit later when we talk about the era of Narendra Modi, because sadly, Gujarat Vidyapit at this present time is having major challenges from the national government, a national government that is not sympathetic to Gandhi studies programs. So we can talk about Gujarat Vidyapit as you like, but it is not a happy story at the present time. In addition, there is Mahatma Gandhi Foundation, led by Tushar Gandhi, a great-grandson of Mahatma Gandhi. The Mahatma Gandhi Foundation is in Mumbai. Tushar Gandhi has my respect. 4 years ago, I was with him on a padayatra, that is a foot march, reenacting the Salt March event of 1930. We were in the process of walking 241 miles in 24 days, when halfway through the march, COVID struck and the entire country of India was placed into lockdown. Some of you may remember that 4 years ago. It's very clear in my mind. Tushar Gandhi led that march. I became familiar with him. And since then, he has become one of the few vocal critics of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And Tushar Gandhi shows a lot of courage. And I find that to be worthy of respect. The Gandhi King Foundation in Hyderabad may be of interest to one of our attendees who is also undertaking research on Gandhi and King. This research foundation is led by Professor Prasad Gamanapalli. Professor Prasad is married to the daughter of Gora, G-O-R-A. Gora was a disciple of Gandhi, active during the independence movement. And so Professor Prasad himself, and through marriage, has very strong Gandhi roots and a very strong interest in Martin Luther King. I am hoping that Professor Prasad may join us in one of our sessions about a month from now relating to King. The Gandhi Peace Foundation was founded in 1958, is located, headquarters in New Delhi, but it has centers throughout India. The Gandhi Peace Foundation housed me as a young man, hosted me when I came at the age of 21, and helped set up interviews that I undertook way back in 1971, 72, with people who were still living who had known Gandhi. Without the Gandhi Peace Foundation, the foundation for my work on Gandhi would have been largely stillborn, a baby that didn't breathe a lot of air. They got my studies off to a very strong start. While I traveled 6 months in India when I was over, this is 21, age 21 is for me 54 years ago. I met over 30 people who had known Gandhi personally and interviewed them. This will be helpful for us in answering questions about some of these people. The Gandhi Smarak Nidhi, which is part of the National Gandhi Memorial Trust, is also something that can be discussed better by Sibi Joseph if he joins us. The Sarva Seva Sang, also associated with the Sarvodaya Mandal, founded in 1948, also would be good for him to discuss, though I will bring back the Gandhi Peace Foundation and Sarva Seva Sang in my discussion of one of the three events that we will now turn to. Is there any desire to have more information about any of these 10 institutions? They're not the only ones. But with the help of my bad handwriting and my notes, you should be able to Google them. And if not, you can always contact me for clarity. Is there anything you would like to discuss about these institutions? They carry on the legacy of Gandhi in India. Well, I'm hoping that Lubna is right, that no one has any questions because I've been so perfectly clear. I
Yes,
don't think that's true.
perfect. Perfect.
But
Yeah,
that's okay.
everything is there.
I just want you to have resources and places that you can contact online for future study.
Yeah,
And that is part of my desire today.
sure, we will try.
Throughout the over 50 years that I have gone back and forth to India, I have seen that most people in India don't understand Gandhi. They know who he is, Bapu, the father of the nation. They know what he looks like because he is on every rupee note. Every rupee note. I don't think that's a legacy that Gandhi would have wanted to be the face on money. Frankly, I laugh and cry every time I see that. It's a very mixed emotion. By the way, George Washington, the father of the United States, yes, the first president of the United States, has his picture on every $1 bill. And so Gandhi and Washington have that in common. And most people in the United States know about as much about George Washington as people in India know about Gandhi. And that is normal. I mean, after someone has been gone, let's say for 75 years, my lifetime, that's about when Gandhi died, yes, in 1948. 48 years after George Washington's death, The year was 1875. The United States had had a civil war that had killed more people than any other war in U.S. history. And we had abolished slavery, and yet we were returning to segregation in the United States 75 years after George Washington's death. And the Ku Klux Klan, a hate group designed to terrorize Black Americans, was on the grow. It was gaining great strength by 1875. Much changes in 75 years, and so most people had no memory of George Washington. And today, a great many people in India have no memory of Gandhi. So this is not a criticism. I think this may be part of the human condition. Yes? Now, three major events have unfolded in India during these 75 years. It's much more complicated than that, but let us say that the first major event was a movement led by Vinoba Bhave. He is on my very bad notes with my bad handwriting. It is posted by Harshal. Bhave is B-H-A-V-E. B-H-A-V-E. Vinoba lived a very long life and died in 1982. When he was younger, he was described as by Gandhi, as the perfect satyagrahi, the perfect nonviolent resistor. Gandhi held up Vinoba as a great disciple of his teachings. After Gandhi's death, Vinoba began a movement in 1951 called the Bhoodan movement. B-H-O-O-D-A-N, Bhoodan, which translates as land gift. Bhoodan, land gift. The land gift movement of Vinoba was an attempt to have rural land reform, because in many parts of India, landlords controlled most of the land. The wealthy had land, and the landless were at their mercy. In Gandhian fashion, Vinoba began walking from village to village to village in his Bhoodan movement, asking the people who were wealthy to give away a portion of their land to be redistributed to the poor. It was not a government-supported movement. It was a people's movement. Vinoba was not depending upon elected Indian officials to bring about land reform. He hoped for it, but in Gandhian fashion, he undertook to do it himself. Yes? Be the change you want to see in the world. You want reform, go out and make reform. Vinoba would go into a village and say to a landlord, tell me, Michael, how many sons do you have? Well, I have one son, Vinoba, but I have 3 daughters. I have 4 children, and Vinoba, I don't believe in patriarchal inheritance of land. All of my 4 children will receive an inheritance equal to the others. And Vinoba would say, that's very good, Michael. So let us say, how many children do you have? You have 4. Now, Michael, I am telling you that you have a 5th child. Treat me like your 5th child. I am now demanding my inheritance. Before you die, Michael, I want you to give me 1/5 of your land. I will then redistribute it to the poor. This is what he did, village to village, landlord to landlord. And he had the moral force of Gandhi. And so this was a very powerful appeal. Michael, you're a landlord. You don't have to give me all of your land. But I am demanding my inheritance on behalf of the poor. You have 4 children. Give me 1/5 of your land. Now, this is fascinating, don't you think? He carried on this walking for 10 years. He traveled all over India for 10 years, all parts of India. He collected over 10 million acres of land. 10 million acres of land. And he redistributed it to the poor. This was the Bhudan movement. And it definitely helped keep the spirit of Gandhi alive.
Michael, I want to make one point over here. Can I?
Please.
Yeah, Michael, it happened in Telangana. The first land grant he got from Gopal Rao, around 1,000 acres from a village called Pochampalli, right?
Aha.
Which is very 40 kilometers away from my home in Hyderabad.
Thank you.
Right. In 1951, I think he was passing from the state place called Pochampalli. The people inspired and that landlord also inspired by the Vinoba Bhave, and he immediately granted around 1,000 acres of land. And after that, the land has been distributed among the Dalits farmers. The previous government started to loot that land from these farmers, which was distributed in 1951 Bhudan lands. But miserably, in last elections, the government lost, and the new government came in Telangana, that is Indian National Congress. Again, this Bhudan land has been retained to these farmers. Thank you.
Shushil, thank you. Already you are making this a better class than yesterday. You see that Shushil, sharing his own perception here and his own information, is making this course better than I can do by myself. Thank you, Shushil.
May I ask one question to Sushil
Of
ji?
course. Please do.
Sushil ji, when they have returned to the land to the farmers, when it is given to the gift as a Bhudan, as a gift, how they have taken the land back?
Yes, ma'am. After this land distribution by Vinoba Bhave,
Ji.
Indira Gandhi made this as an assigned land. Assigned land
All
means the government has given, not Vinoba Bhave.
All right.
Then recently, recently the TRS government, which was a forefront of a separate state of Telangana, they ruled for two times, right? And recently, most of this Bhudan movement was confiscated back to government, and they want to sell to the multinational companies. This is one of the biggest. This is one of the biggest reason the government has lost elections, and Congress came back to power, and they immediately restored this Bhudan movement again back to these Dalit farmers. Now, this donor Gopal Rao Reddy, I think Gopal Rao Reddy's son is a doctor, a famous doctor in Hyderabad.
Well, this is good information, and we could spend much more time on Bhudan. I might add that there were criticisms of Vinoba Bhave and the Bhudan movement, because oftentimes the landlords would give the worst land that they had for redistribution. And that's not always true.
And these landlords earned this land due to this practice of feudalism. And feudalism was rampant in the state of Telangana.
And so if Michael, that is me, were a landlord and I was very, very selfish, as many people are, I might give Vinoba 1/5 of my land, but it would be very bad land. Even so, redistributing land to the poor, they can make miracles out of nothing. Oftentimes, hard work can really uplift people and they can make even bad land productive. But that is a criticism of Vinoba. It is as a criticism of the movement. And I'd like us to be aware of that. I discussed that with Vinoba when I met him in 1971. I spent about a week in Wardha, which is where not only Sevagram is located, Gandhi's last home, but also Vinoba Bhave's ashram. And I went to visit him, and we talked a little about this. And from his point of view, it is good for people to give. It is best for them to give genuinely, but it is good for them to give even if it is not pure. Because the poor see God in the form of bread. And you need to have land in order to produce bread. And so, Vinoba was aware of some of these issues, but he was also aware that doing some good may not be perfect, but it is better than doing nothing at all. Yes? And to me, that's a powerful perspective. I have great respect for Vinoba Bhave. The second historical reality that shook the Gandhi movement came under the prime ministership of Indira Gandhi. Indira Gandhi is not related to Mahatma Gandhi. Indira Gandhi is the daughter of the first prime minister of India, Nehru. And Indira married a Parsi man out of Mumbai by the name of Gandhi. Gandhi means grocer. And so Gandhi is not a very common name, but it is a name that more people than Mahatma Gandhi had. So Indira Gandhi married a Farsi by the name of Gandhi, took over the prime ministership after her father, Nehru, left that position. And Indira Gandhi served as prime minister for a total of 15 years, 4 terms. And rather than getting into all of that politics, the key thing that happened that I want to discuss is during a 2-year period, from 1975 to 77, Indira Gandhi, Prime Minister of India, declared a state of emergency. The state of emergency embodied her desire to forcefully change the patriarchal and feudalistic structure of culture in India. She wanted to have a strong population control program. Among other things, she was paying women to be sterilized to be able to control the population of India, the population rate. She was trying to confront landlords who were reluctant to take care of the needs of the poor. So her motivations, I believe, were very good. But her means were very, very heavy-handed. She suspended civil liberties, freedom of speech, freedom of press. She accepted no criticism of her policies. Under that state of emergency, 100,000 political opponents of Indira Gandhi were jailed. Now, you might recall from our earlier session, the Salt Satyagraha of 1930 had the British jail 100,000 people. Indira Gandhi jailed 100,000 of her own people as a way of bringing about social change. I personally sympathize with her objectives. I personally do not agree with her methods. And what the response from the Gandhi movement was to Indira Gandhi's state of emergency was resist, resist. And she jailed many Gandhians. That faction of the Gandhi movement, which was most resistance-oriented, had as a figurehead Jayaprakash Narayan. Jayaprakash Narayan is in my notes. Again, if you can read the bad spelling. Narayan, Narayan. JP, as he was known, was the founder of the Socialist Party in India. He was left-wing, and yet he stood for freedom of speech, press, and assembly. He opposed the methods of Indira Gandhi, and he himself went to jail. I had interviewed Jayaprakash Narayan when I was young, during my first trip, and I was impressed with the intensity of his commitment to Gandhi. And yet, JP wanted to have more government involvement in bringing about change. He was not as grassroots oriented as Vinoba Bhave. Now, what did Vinoba Bhave do during the state of emergency? He supported Indira Gandhi. Vinoba Bhave did not go to jail. JP did. Vinoba Bhave cooperated with Indira Gandhi, did not criticize her, and in fact, she would use his ashram in Wardha as a place for her to go on a retreat to be able to be relaxing and free from the press. So those Gandhi followers who were resisting oriented followed Jayaprakash Narayan to jail. Those who were more cooperative supported Vinoba Bhave. And this split the Gandhi movement in India, and it has never, ever fully recovered. Even today, many years, 50 years after the state of emergency, there are still these disagreeing groups. One that followed JP, one that followed Vinoba. And for me, this is very sad that the Gandhi movement was so seriously split. But I guess this happens. At the time, while I sympathized with both factions, and I still do, personally, I am more in tune with Jayaprakash Narayan. Personally, I have greater respect for those who went to jail. That's my personal point of view. Now, this had a tremendous impact. I had mentioned the Gandhi Peace Foundation. The Gandhi Peace Foundation housed in New Delhi and present throughout the country, supported Jayaprakash Narayan and became centers for resisting the Prime Minister. The Gandhi Peace Foundation has never fully recovered. The Congress Party, ruling in India under Indira Gandhi, did their best to cut off funding for the Gandhi Peace Foundation. The building physically in Delhi, where I had stayed for a month during my first visit in India, it has not been able to be carefully repaired for 50 years. The building is in disrepair even today. It still stands. The Gandhi Peace Foundation continues to operate, but it is in serious financial condition, even now. I just wanted to mention that. And the past is with us in the present. The third period that I want to speak a little about for 6 minutes, and then we'll open for discussion, is more recent. And we'll take more time with this at the end of our course together, about 5 weeks from now. In 2014, Narendra Modi became Prime Minister of India for the first time. And this was not totally a surprise. The Congress Party had been weakened after Indira Gandhi's departure. And there were others very critical of the Congress Party, and some of the criticisms, I believe, were fair. Narendra Modi developed and led a new party called the BJP, the Bharatiya Janata Party. And the BJP, it was very critical of Mahatma Gandhi, openly critical, not just of the Congress Party, but of Mahatma Gandhi himself. To understand that, we need to very simply go back to 1925. In 1925, a group called the Rashtriya Sabha Sangh, the RSS, was founded in India, inspired by the brown shirts of Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler was Aryan nationalist. He was a white nationalist, believing in white superiority. The RSS was Hindu nationalist, believing in Hindu superiority. Inspired by Adolf Hitler, a form of Hindu nationalism called Hindutva emerged and continued with the RSS. Gandhi was killed by a person associated with the RSS. The assassination of Gandhi in 1948 was done by Godse, a man who had been an RSS member and was being inspired by others who considered Gandhi to be a traitor to Hinduism, a lover of Muslims, one who wants a secular state for India, where everyone is treated equally, able to worship and live as they want. That is not Hindustan. The Hindutva ideology of the RSS wants Hindustan. and has an ideology that basically says that any person in India whose cultural roots are not born in India are not Indian. So Hindus are Indian, Sikhs are Indian, Jains are Indian, Buddhists are Indian. All of these are rooted in India. But Christians are not Indian. Zoroastrians are not Indian. Jews are not Indian. Muslims are not Indian. Under the Hindutva ideology of the BJP and their current Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, Gandhi is still considered to be a traitor. He was assassinated in 1948, but you cannot actually kill him. His ideas, his spirit lives on. What can you do? Narendra Modi and the BJP, and by the way, the RSS continue to be a major recruiter for the BJP party. What you can do is you redefine Gandhi. Rather than talking about satyagraha and resistance to oppression, you talk about village uplift and sanitation. Of course, Gandhi talked about these things, yes? But they basically uplift portions of Gandhi's teachings and exclude others. And when it comes to teaching about Gandhi, they highlight Gandhi being a Hindu. He was a Hindu. He was believing in Ramrajya, the kingdom of God. Some of the language that Gandhi uses is twisted and made use of by the BJP to make Gandhi a supporter of the BJP. They neglect that Gandhi believed in a secular state where all religions have the freedom to worship and to live peacefully. They forget that Gandhi had many Muslim friends and would support the fast of Ramadan, for example, every year. Gandhi would be in solidarity with Ramadan. The BJP overlooks these elements of Gandhi, and they are trying to effectively, in my opinion, kill his memory. They're trying to rewrite history. Since they couldn't erase Gandhi, they are trying to redefine him as one of their own. We will discuss this a little now or later as you like. They are succeeding to some extent. The Gandhi's University, Gujarat Vidyapit, that he founded in 1920, now has a BJP and former RSS member as the chancellor of the university. They are literally seeking to change Gandhi's university in the image of the BJP. And these developments are very disturbing. 1.5 years ago, the Center for the Sarva Seva Sangh in Banaras, also known as Varanasi, in northern India, the headquarters for the Sarva Seva Sangh in Varanasi were destroyed, physically destroyed, by the BJP. Technically, that district is Narendra Modi's home parliamentary district. And Narendra Modi came up with the accusation that the land on which the Sarva Seva Sang was built was never properly secured from the railroads, even though all documents indicate that the land was transferred from a railroad ownership to the Sarva Seva Sang. Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of India, has said, no, those documents are not accurate. And under the order of the national government, the headquarters in Varanasi of the Sarva Seva Sang were literally bulldozed. They were destroyed. The records of the Sarva Seva Sang, over 50 years worth of records, were thrown out of the buildings onto the ground and destroyed. The employees of the Sarva Seva Sang and those who supported them were arrested and thrown into jail. This is only 1.5 years ago. So there is a current period of Gandhi's legacy in India that is under attack. And I want that to be clear, not to depress you, but to show you that, in a sense, Gandhi is still alive and powerful. Remember what I mentioned about the Sharpsville massacre in South Africa, where the white supremacists in this case attacked Black demonstrators with the African National Congress, peacefully demonstrating, and massacred a number of these activists. Remember how Nelson Mandela at the time and others thought, oh, this is a sign that nonviolence has failed. Remember how I suggested to you that Gandhi himself believed that repression of the movement is a great indication of its power. And a movement is not going to be attacked. The Sarva Seva Sang in Varanasi is not going to be attacked unless it is seen as a threat. It is, in my view, as testament of the strength of the ongoing legacy of Gandhi in India that Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of India, would feel threatened enough to try to destroy the memory of Gandhi at the Sarva Seva Sang. But that memory is not destroyed. Only the buildings were. You understand? Only the buildings. The people who were jailed are largely now released. The wounds of that repressive action remain strong. People now remember Gandhi in some ways better than they did before. The attack has left a fresh memory. I don't want to talk on. I would like us to have some discussion. I did in my notes mention Vandana Shiva, one of my favorite people in India today. And before we leave today, I'm hoping that you will understand a little bit about Vandana Shiva, because she is also being threatened by Narendra Modi, but she is very powerfully standing up, supporting earth democracy, is what she calls it, earth democracy. So at this point, let's have a little discussion. Let us see Reza and others. If you would like to speak, we are a very small group, so I see no need for breakout sessions. What do you think about what I have shared? The Bhudan movement, the state of emergency and the split of the Gandhi movement, the rise of Narendra Modi and the repression now being experienced by many people associated with Gandhi today. I see Shushil has a green square around his image. You can unmute yourself if you want.
Yeah, Michael, this is a very interesting movement initiated by Acharya Vinoba Bhave. I think Nizam also donated. Nizam was a king for Hyderabad, but after 1948, the princely state has been what you call merged into Indian Union, right? And Nizam left with lot of abundance of land because he ruled Hyderabad state, Deccan state for 250 years. He also gave around 14,000 acres of land to Vinoba Bhave. And this Ramchandra Rao Reddy from Pochampalli, he is the first person to donate land to Vinoba Bhave around 800 acres. Now here what happens? After taking these lands, small piece of lands donated by the Vinoba Bhave, again these farmers used to sell this land back to these landlords again. So what Indira Gandhi did, she regularized this act that whoever received land under Bhutan Act, they should do only farming on that land. Apart from that, they cannot do anything, nor they can build a hut also. If you won't do farming for next 3 years or 2 years, the government will take that land back. So Indira Gandhi regularized that.
Okay.
Normally what happens whenever the government donates a land to the poor people to do farming, these people will sell that land back to the what you call feudal lots, landlords.
Yes.
So what government did? No, you cannot sell this. The owner will be the government only. We will give this land as a lease for you for 99 years. You do farming, your children will do farming, but you don't have any right to sell this land to other people. This is a wonderful initiative taken by the Congress government when India got independence.
This is very useful information, Shushil. I am not sure if what happened in Hyderabad, let's say, is true also of Bihar.
Yeah, exactly. Still, this act is there in Maharashtra also. If you won't do farming for next 2 years in Bhutan land, your land will be taken back by the government. Still, it is there in Maharashtra.
Very good. And apparently the BJP is not trying to reverse this program. I would imagine.
No, what they will do now?
Yes.
Present government. I'm not talking about the BJP or any other government. Now, what they will do? Okay, fine. You are doing this farming. Now, what you are getting from this farming? Nothing. There is no production. There is no water. You do one thing. We will pay you 10 lakh rupees. You go from here and give this land to us.
To us, meaning the government.
Happily, the Dalit farmers are receiving 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs for that assigned land. And voluntarily, again, they are giving that land back to the government and they are moving right from there.
And then what does the government do with it?
Yes, it's a very good question. The government will sell this land or lease this land to MNC companies. This is the reason the real estate sharks are penetrating deep inside the villages of India.
So what I'm hearing is that the government may lease that land to corporations or to others who will make good use of it.
Exactly, but not the state of Kerala. Kerala is not at all entertaining these corporate companies to take their lands.
Understand.
Right? They are safeguarding the rights of the people, the farmers. They are not allowing anything. They have standard crops year by year. They have to do the crops only. and they are not allowed to sell their lands to the corporate companies. And it's a Panchayat Raj level loss, very grassroots level loss. Whereas in
I
Maharashtra, Telangana, my state, lands are freely available. Lands are freely available. What is my question, Michael? If these things happens, then what about the Mahatma Gandhi's dream Sarvodaya? No farmer will like to do this cotton spinning. No one likes to work with a spinning wheel. Everyone will come back to Hyderabad city for the livelihood. No one will stay in the villages. Now, in
well, yes.
yeah,
Well, this is a complex issue that you raise. I think first, it is telling that the government of Maharashtra and perhaps others, with this land that has been bought back, this Bhutan land, is now leasing it out to big corporations. And this is part of the BJP program to encourage investment in India, including multinational corporate investment.
exactly.
This,
And who will take these lands? Adani or Reliance, Ambani's.
yes, Adani, his wealthy friend, or it could be, of course, leased out to Union Carbide. Forgive me for mentioning.
Michael Union Carbide was a good friend of Rajiv Gandhi.
Uh, and of course, the Bhopal horrible disaster. It could be leased out to um, Bezos and Amazon for different centers that they have. So it is part of the global corporate movement, which I find very disturbing, that BJP sees as good for India and good for jobs. In Kerala, it is different because Kerala and also South India, but
They have
Kerala in
strong
particular,
communist ideology.
they've had a Marxist government for much of the period since 1948. And the Kerala government, the Marxist government, has come and gone, but it's been mostly present. Believes in a secular state. They receive, of course, support from Muslims and also from many Hindus. Christians usually still vote Congress Party in Kerala. But the Muslim supported secular government of Kerala is anti-corporate. They're pro-unions. They have the highest minimum wage of India. They have the highest literacy rate of India. They have the lowest issue of landlord control in India. Land is restricted in how much you can have in Kerala. So it's a very different reality there. Now, your bigger question is, what is happening to Sarvodaya? Well, honestly, while we have institutions that I've mentioned that continue to promote these ideas of Swadeshi, for example, and decentralized village republics, and try to encourage panchayats to have greater participatory democracy at the local level. While this is all there, honestly, the Congress Party didn't do a lot to support it. It's not just about the BJP. Nehru was inspired by Gandhi. Nehru, the first prime minister, was chosen by Gandhi to be the first prime minister, in part because he believed in a secular state. But Nehru also developed a strong military. Nehru began movement towards India becoming a nuclear weapons power. These are not things that Gandhi would have liked. Nehru looked at hydroelectric dams as the new temples of India. Dams that would produce, in a centralized way, hydroelectric power for industry, while flooding tens of thousands of acres of land.
I think, Michael, the plans has been copied from Russia, na? After India's independence.
Nehru developed 5-year plans and had
Yeah,
kind
am I
of
right? He copied from Russia.
is somewhat copied from Russia. Nehru himself was neutral, unaligned between the United States and Russia. He tried to not take sides in the Cold War, but Nehru was a socialist with 5-year plans and did favor increasing trade. So while Nehru and some later Congress Party people have fond memories of Sarvodaya and the ideals of Swadeshi, self-reliance, especially after Indira Gandhi, the Congress Party leaders embraced free trade, embraced globalization. And this is before the BJP. So in my view, Indira Gandhi, unintentionally, and later Congress Party leaders who later embraced globalization have laid the stage for increased centralized power in Narendra Modi and increased corporate influence in India. India has put Gandhi on all of their rupee notes, just like George Washington is on the dollar bill. But they largely do not remember what Gandhi taught. And they have not followed a Gandhi ideology in the development of the country. I would personally criticize both the Congress Party and the BJP as not knowing or remembering Gandhi as well as they should. Now, in our small little group, I believe we've had a very good session. Better than yesterday. It's been recorded, and I hope that other people not present today will view this recording and learn something from it. We're working on making the links and access to these sessions more easy so that we may have increased participation next week when we begin our session on Martin Luther King Jr. I see Pascal with a hand up. Please unmute.
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can.
Very good, thank you. I have a question to the worldview paper, which is due today or tomorrow.
Well,
Is it possible?
thank you.
Is it
Yes.
possible to have some information about contents and layout?
Again, yes. Thank you. And the first syllabus had it due today. The modified syllabus for the course has it due by the end of the day on Monday, the 3rd of March. So that's the first thing to mention. Also in the modified syllabus, which I highlighted the changes in yellow, there were suggestions that to make it more simple, the assignment.
The problem is, it's the first time for me to do something for the university in English, and that's why I don't understand what is a syllabus.
A syllabus is the course outline. It is the foundation for the course.
Okay. Is all right. With number, do you mean the number? Number 1, number 2, number 3, what I want to write about?
Yes, that is the course outline. And the assignment that was mentioned in page 2 of, see, the course itself was outlined in 3 pages. The third page has the actual outline, session 1, session 2, session 3, yes?
Yes.
On the second page, highlighted in yellow, in its revised version, was the revised assignment due Monday, though get it in whenever you can. And the revision was simply to provide one paragraph relating to each session that either you attended or you viewed online if you missed the session. And so you can see page 3 is on our screen now, and the new due dates are there. Monday, March 3rd. So there, I'm hoping to see as many of the sessions as you attended, there are 15 possible, that you can send a reflection, one paragraph in which you mention this is session 1, the topic was, and this is at least one idea that I think was good from that session, or one idea that I disagree with in that session. Give me some of your thoughts relating to session 1.
Okay. Then there are journal reflection, because on this paper I have of you is something different
Yes.
written.
Yes.
And that's why I thought, and that's why I didn't know what is a worldview paper. It's a journal reflection like the first one. I have already sent to you.
That's okay. But again, it's very helpful for these one paragraph, and it can be a fairly short paragraph.
Okay.
Today, I learned that Vinoba Bhave disagreed with Jayaprakash Narayan, and I myself think the state of emergency created a big problem for India. Some opinion that you can give. You don't have to review the entire session today.
I understand.
Just something that shows me that you are thinking.
Because, I asked myself about the possibility to write perhaps how I use the knowledges of about Gandhi in my daily working life, for example.
That would be very good. Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely, yes.
All right. It's possible.
And if Sushil wants to make a painting regarding every session, that's okay. That's his reflection. But it can be much more simple. This is how I apply what I learned today in my life.
Yes.
That would be excellent.
All right. Very good.
But make it simple. Make it simple. And so my thought is, if you have attended, let's say, 10 out of these 15 sessions, then there would be 10 paragraphs, relatively simple, how this applies to me. And that can come in on Monday or as soon as you can. And that would be great. The second set of 10 or 15 sessions will be due later in the end of March, early April. And how this fits into the course as a whole, there will be a final paper, only 3 to 5 pages long, that is due in April. You can see it on the course outline. And there is where you are comparing Gandhi and Martin Luther King, where you may agree with some things from the one, agree with some things from the other, disagree with them both. My hope is that when you are engaged in these one little paragraph exercises, you will be thinking about each session, and it will make writing the final paper much more easy, because you will be thinking about how I agree with Gandhi, how I agree with King, how I disagree. And the last paper, only 3 to 5 pages, will simply be kind of a pulling together of your thoughts from these one little paragraph exercises. Does that make sense? And I wish that everybody of our 35 plus people in this course could have heard what I just shared and maybe understood. I don't want the course to be difficult. I want it to be challenging and personally useful. Are others that are present? I see Lubna being very thoughtful. You're a thinker. All I'm looking for is a little bit of your thinking.
No, listening you carefully, I was thinking that those who are leaders, from those whom I read through all the documents and the papers and the book, everybody is a charismatic leader. Even those who don't like them, they also while they are quiet and in silent, they realize that these leaders are really something to cherish with. So I believe in this way that all the leaders, even in Bangladesh, those who are the top leaders like Sheikh Mujib, like Ziaur Rahman and Ershad, they are something. They have some. They are charismatic. And when I studied about Gandhiji, from his childhood, his father was like that. His mother was very religious. Father was, though they are very rich, but his father was very, decent and content. They did not allow their children to be very lavishly grown up or like something like this. So from family they have learned it. I believe in this way. It is a huge impact your childhood to be a great leader in future.
Well, this is I think, a very good reflection. I think what Gandhi would probably want is not simply to be respected and revered, but he wants you to lead yourself.
Yes, that, like
And
he mentioned once, I have read that I have never I have never lied to anyone, and it was my only objective in my childhood, so that I do not lie. That is a very good philosophy from childhood. So it's like that.
and so hopefully the Gandhi's portion of our course,
Yes.
these past 15 weeks, 15 sessions, these past 15 sessions, about
Lubna ma'am, can I talk with you for a moment? Don't mind?
Yeah, of course.
This is
Sure, no problem.
very
Yeah,
good.
Lubna ma'am, I work here as a visual arts teacher in an IB school.
All right.
So my students love to talk with you. A few students. And if you give your permission, we will make a video call and my students will ask you a few questions about your journey, how you studied, from where you began, and how you are now, what's your position in the Bangladesh Supreme Court, all these questions.
Sure,
Will
no
you answer
problem.
them? Right?
Yes, sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
thank you very
Very
much, ma'am. Thank you
transparent.
very much.
My life is like a, very simple and very, it's nothing to hide.
Thank you very much.
My
Very good.
pleasure.
I like this. Very good. We're developing relationships.
I wish I could be an English spoken student so that I can communicate English very nicely and politely and softly. I'm too rushed to speak, and I'm so, I get, when I was young, my father used to tell me, speak slowly and nicely.
And you do.
I
Well,
try.
our session today was small and high quality. Thank you all for being present, for raising
Michael,
good.
can I interrupt and put one more idea to you?
Please.
It's Needu. So it's a request to all, like, I would like to inform that whenever we read about these leaders who have involved themselves into India's freedom struggle, and Gandhi ji being one of them, we always find out that, as Lubna ma'am is saying, that they were all from the high elite class of the society where education was, what do you call, ingrained in them, and then only they could find out solutions to the problems, which were very touchy problems, which we will say. Otherwise, rest all of them who never acquired education, they could never ask or intrigue these. They were just mass. So whenever we talk about either Swami Vivekananda or Rabindranath Tagore, or even a leader like Gandhi, or even Lala Lajpat Rai, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, you will always find that they were always having a degree of advocate with them. But today, when like they were lawyers, being lawyers, you find out that they were more empowered than others. So then only they could put things on the table across and contradict. So that is why whenever we have leaders like this, who can answer your questions, or who can speak of justice, injustice, that is what was seen among this. But now we find out that our education in India, I think my colleagues from India will have to either agree with me or disagree with me. We are going in for mass education. In mass education, you find out that these spirits are missing. And we find out that even though they were upper caste people, like what you call today as Brahmin class, they were able to take up these ideas and bring it to the national level and bring people together. And that is why we put these leaders to those who could carry the country for such a big national movements, for such a big movements, which brought about, like we say for Gandhiji, that a person with just a dhoti and a stick in hand with no bloodshed brought freedom to India, because he had already visualized that blood and bloodshed and killing will not take this number of people towards a new nation. That is what, when we were reading about these leaders who have involved, it is a simple text we read, like a part of our curriculum. So I would just like to add to your ideas that we do need to reach to a certain level, not only from the family, but to a level of education, which the degrees acquired in a conscious way, and then the degrees applied for societal transformation. That is what was one observation we were making when we were doing a comparative study of the national leaders involved. At every decade, you'll find out, even our princely kings. Among the princely kings, if you see Shivaji, you see most of the leaders, Tatyato, they were the ones who were really educated, but they were educated in the indigenous atmospheres. And then they started feeling where the problem starts and how these problems can be addressed for the people to bring about a transformation in the society for social justice. That was our observations at a level. But I just wanted to exchange these views, so I opened up with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I hope you have a good few days, and I look forward to seeing you next Thursday as we begin our course segment relating to Martin Luther King Jr.